Hello, Gwenters, and welcome back for a Wild Hunt Wednesday. I've been toying around with several different monster decks, but I keep coming back to Old Faithful Organic Removal. I've made some changes to pair it up for this season. Having a ton of fun with it. I think it is quite good. I hope you guys will enjoy it. I know some people had complained about Kikimora Queen being useless, but those of us who used Organic Removal know that she still had a purpose in this deck, just for a good point generation. Karen Thier still in here. What we've done basically is downgraded one of our adrenaline rushes into an Arrakis nest. Still running 2 natural selections, 2 predatory dives, just 1 griffin, just 1 Burbagazi, parasite, beast, and Draga Queen is just really good for consume. Armored Arrakis being the one thing in this deck that I could be persuaded to change out, but I don't see any other 8-point cards that I'm totally in love with. If there was one that could boost all allied insectoids, then I'd be going for that one. That not being the case here, nothing I'm really loving. Arrakis Behemoth did get boosted, but still not good enough. This needs to be a taller unit. I think if we could do like a consume an allied insect, boost self by that and boost self by double the amount, and then spawn 2 drones equal to the amount consumed. Or so, I mean, make it complicated. I'm fine with that, but this is boring and it's dumb. You got to put other insects in the row first, and Kikimora Queen is just so much better than Arrakis Behemoth. So anyway, and Kikimora Queen getting like better synergy. I guess you can proc the leader ability here, but you only get the one-time boost, whereas Kikimora Queen, you get way more. So, anyway, Matahori's still in here to make sure we get Kikimora Queen to hand. Icar in here as well, just for good point slam. Glusty Warp, Osriel here, and then we're running Whispering Hillock to get Goliath. I'm trying to think if there's something else I'm missing or forgetting here. I think that's probably actually about it. Frenzied Dow is a cool way to destroy artifacts, but I wish that this was like 7 to put it more on par with Bomb Heaver. Bomb Heaver coming down for 4 points, only costing 5 provisions. I'm not sure where that thinking comes from. If anything, honestly, the higher provision cost unit should be more points. Should be like equal to 8 for 8, but I digress. Alright, let's jump into a game, show you a little bit about how this works. Very similar to our previous deck, so I'm not going to make this a super long video. I mostly just want to showcase that it's still meta, it's still very useful, it still messes with people's minds, it still has some of the best abilities to do those removals and proc units. More than anyone else. So very similar in my mind to the current Symbiosis meta, but that it had existed before with these drones instead of the Treants boosting by the number of Symbiosis cards. So Treants still representing more value, but this is still quite good. And we are on red coins, where it's definitely going to keep Predatory Dive. We do have Kikimora Queen to hand, so Matahori is going to find us something else quite valuable. We don't want Goliath, and for those of you wondering why don't we want Goliath, don't ask me questions. No, just kidding. Whispering Hillock is really, really valuable here. Now with Mata, we're going to get Osriel, or we're going to get Goliath is 8 points as well, so it looks like we are going to for sure get Osriel or Glusty Warp. I knew there was another 9. I just had to look around for a while. So here our opponent playing Magnet Division and boosting them up. That's fine. We're just going to let that soak right into a Spores. Or wait, Predatory Dive for 9 points. Don't mind if I do. His Imperial Formation being a little bit weird to see our opponent drop all those points against a Monsters deck on Magnet Division. I don't really understand it, but who am I? We are missing in Draga Queen. Oh no, she's right here. Okay, so you do want to get out your Icarin, and then you want to play your Draga Queen, consume the Icarin, especially while its armor is out of reach for the opponent. It works really, really well. If, oddly enough, your opponent decides to lock Icarin, then you don't have to even worry about that. I guess you could. I think Dirigea Vol is lock a unit, not an enemy unit, so that can work. All right, Yen's Invocation coming out early. Choices have been made. Not ones I think are particularly great, but you know, go for it. So we'll use Adrenaline Rush here. We still have this Spores. Spores representing the full reset value plus 1 point of drone for us. So I feel quite content playing into that. Arrakis, Armored Arrakis being nice for the Thrive proc on Kikimor Queen. But here looking for it to give me some boost by damaging these Ardfane Tortoise. Oh, sorry, that doesn't affect the armor. I have to think a little bit before I make choices. But 7 points of bleed is quite valuable for us. And again, our opponent's still boosting himself, but we're just going to let him go high and deep with that Magnet Division and reset it for really good value later on. And our opponent using a leader ability to get it boosted up in the first place, we're going to take some good advantage of that. Now you can also use Andrega Queen here to consume Armored Arrakis. Its job has been done. You've got 2 armor there. Finding pretty good value. And the reason we do that is because Andrega Queen is going to give that boost by 2 points every time. Our opponent going for the Purify, which I find will be a little bit interesting. And then every turn this Andrega Queen is going to just spawn one of these little drones. Now you can use those really well with Kikimor Queen. In fact, some rounds I actually like to throw down Caranthir with Kikimor Queen in one round and then preserve the next round for a different purpose. Here we are probably going to lose Andrega Queen. We could have played Burbagazi out, but knowing that our opponent would very likely have poisons, I don't have a lot of concerns. We're going to just go ahead and play Burbagazi to call the bluff for no other reason. Excuse me. See what else our opponent wants to put down. They've continued to play, and we're going to go ahead here and use Matahuri. See what we grab. It is Glusty Warp. Glusty Warp, a great way to get us out of this if we end up in a deep pinch. But this Spore is representing the maximum value it can get at 5 points right now of reset, plus the 1 point drone. Really good way for us to close this out, and then we can use Glusty Warp depending on how far down in cards both us and our opponent gets. I get the sense that our opponent isn't keen to play any of their cards by up 4 points, but nervous about losing on evens. A little concerned about what they're going to do. The boost here being a little bit puzzling to me, but that's fine. We'll go ahead and use Spores on Magnet Division. And here we are actually just going to use 2 leader ability procs to force the tie. Taking a moment to decide that. I don't want to go ahead. I'm fine with the draw. I honestly would be fine with the draw generally, but I'm fine with the draw right now, especially just because these 3 cards together represent so many points. Losing that 9-point card, 12-point play, that is, for those of you who think I just whine about Van Morlehem all the time, that's a play I'm alright with. That's a play I think that makes sense. He's removing a doomed unit. It was my fault for setting out a doomed unit to be so vulnerable. But here I think Glusty Warp representing 6 plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 other points. He comes at 12. That does tie us up. Makes me very happy. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Again, us fine with the draw here. Although it is a bit dangerous with this Imperial Formation. I love danger. I'm just wanting to force out some of the opponent's best cards. Here I'm very happy with this Joachim bleed. Joachim into the Ikern is a lot of points for my opponent. Too bad we don't have any more removal in hand. This is 1 point of armor representing a lot, but getting the unit into my opponent's graveyard is exactly what I wanted. So this playing really well for me. Now, if I would have had a 1-point removal, that would have been a really great way for us to have taken that round and put our opponent to bed. I think they totally forgot they used Yen's Invocation there. Now, Whispering Hillock, Natural Selection, and Ozrel, all good options. I think I'd like to see this parlayed into Wisp-Best being a better option. Just gives us more flexibility with Predatory Dive, Parasite, and Natural Selection. So we're going to go ahead and let this ride. And then we can use Whispering Hillock to proc a drone and pull out Goliath. That will be most likely our #1 goal for this round. Although it is such great value here, I think maybe instead we'll go Wisp-Best into Arrakis Nest is 7 points. Whispering Hillock representing a really good value in the Thrive on Kikimor Queen. Our opponent is likely running Ball, would be my guess. Seeing those 2 poisons come out earlier with the with Vincent, with Yen's Invocation, and with Joachim. I think Roderick and Ball are the big concerns that I have. But knowing that Joachim and Vincent are out, unless he's running like Vivian, which many people aren't, opponent's likely not going to cause too many troubles. Looks like we drew everything we wanted. We don't want to cycle anything back because we really don't want to get Goliath. But pretty happy here with what we have. The biggest goals here, wanting to get our Andrega Larvae going, our Beast going, just to get maximum points. We'll go ahead and use our melee row. One downside here being that Karen Thier is going to take up one of the spots on this row. So we need Karen Thier and 2 Kikimor Queens. That's 5. That gives us room for 4 more units. Ozrel needing to play to melee to get this Ikarin. Spies could also cause us some troubles. We're going to go ahead and play Beast to range row just because it represents so much value with this Ardfin Tortoise going up. And we can use Parasite both to do 4 points of damage, but also get that 3 points of boost onto our highest unit. Likely going to be Ozrel. But we'll probably wait to play Ozrel until later anyway. I'm wanting to go a little bit slower here, which is fine. Theon coming down to get the extra armor to himself, I would guess. Boosting him even further. A little bit curious given that the Beast is right here. But anyway, okay, so we do need to be worried somewhat about our opponent cluttering up this row, but we still want to get maximum value. We did count it out. This should still work, and proc spine units just as likely as other problems. So here I think actually what we'll be doing is Kikimor Queen and Ozrel just to make sure we don't get trapped out. Ozrel otherwise needing to grab a 6-point unit, which would not be very good value. Our opponent here not realizing how row stacked we are, I guess, and wanting to play Roderick to a different row. So knowing that this Masquerade Ball is out and poisons are represented, we're just going to take our time. Make sure we can proc the maximum number of boosts. And Ozrel likely our next option, although Beast may end up being the target of this. Kahir, very good value here with this deck. Causing us a lot of problems, actually.
Thinking can be hazardous to your health.
I think we still can yield a better point gap than our opponent. Now I could tell you to include Igni. obviously that could work for you. I have seen Yurden work really well with this deck. But the chance of queuing into Kahir is probably like 1 in 20. So building it just to counter this specific deck is not something I would necessarily recommend. And Goliath here still representing a good number of points for us. Nilfgaardian Knight is a great play here. This Parasite finding 2 points of damage better than the boost just because Kahir is going to carry that boost. The loss of this 16-point card being enough to maybe tie up this game for the opponent and put a nice little bow on it. We really are in a bit of a pinch position. The one thing I'm hoping for here, that our opponent did play ball before this Roderick, so they might be missing an aristocrat, but no, they find it in Usurper Emperor. We have locked them out of this melee row, so that works for us at least. But the loss of this beast being a lot of points gone, I don't think we have enough to tie this up. Normally we would be proccing a lot of thrives and a lot of boosts here, but really missing out with Whispering Hillock now because of the Kahir receiving so many points. I mean, he's at 40 now. Goliath coming down and providing just insane numbers of points for us, but boosting him up 16 points. 26. He was at 40 before, right? So 16 points, yes. Just pushing us out of this round. So, yeah, again, I maybe should have played a little bit better around here, but we are where we are. One thing I do want to point out, though, before I close this out, I know some people are looking for seasonal events, and this deck is quite good in the seasonal. We'll just show you some quick game footage on how this can work. Not needing to go too far into it, but Thrives and Dregelarve being very good in the seasonal. We'll just exhibit some of this. One of the best things about seasonal, people are tending to play a little bit faster during the seasonal. It's also playing dumb because it's not on ladder, it's not ranked, and they don't have to worry about it. So lots of different things you can do during it. Here we are on blue coin, so we don't need this predatory dive. We will keep the other removals that we can find. Goliath again being the card we don't want to play here. We do want to get out Adrenaline Rush onto the Magic Lamp as soon as we can. That way we're not cluttering our rows and causing other problems. It also sets up for Griffin. Sets up for Predatory Dive also, although we did put that back into our deck. But here you can see it spawns the same row, would have caused us problems. It is, you will notice that these drones will not stick around because they are odd cards. But in Dregelarve do play really well with this. So here we're going to go ahead and remove this Carrick Frigate. Just noting that we can use our leader charges with Glessy Warp and Kikimor Queen to do maximum damage. And we will continue to go up and down, back and forth with these points as we continue on. And this will actually come down and get damage next turn and the turn after that. So we're just going to go ahead and let that happen before we have to make our next choice. Ikrin going to take damage every turn as it has that armor. So we do want to get it out and do want to consume it with Kikimor Queen. Question is, do we want to do that this round or next round? Griffin finding 6 points of value off Wisp Best Tribute. So that can be a good value point there. Oddly, the damage occurs before the unit prompts occur. So here you can see Redanian Knights taking damage before getting boosted, which can be a little bit annoying for yourself if you're not used to it. Here I think we'll go ahead and use Griffin. just waiting here, setting up our removal with these natural selection, as this Carrick frigate will drop down to 4 points. And if you remember, natural selection does typically always represent 5 points of value for us. This leader ability being really great for some other synergies, but obviously not fantastic here in seasonal, because we are proccing those 1 point drones that are dying right away. Now this working as a very smart decision to get this Carrick frigate boosted up. So here we actually will go ahead and get out Ikran. Boiling oil able to strike and remove it, which would cause us problems, but those are the options that we had available to us at that time. Now Tridem is an excellent player for this seasonal. This Tridem is going to get boosted every time he is on evens. And that occurs, like I said, first before any other soldier procs occur. Visigarde being another great option, as so many units will end up just getting pure boost. So Northern Realms being very good. Probably actually my favorite faction for seasonal. This being really great value right here. Our opponent passes us. There's no real great way for us to catch up here. I think I would usually prefer to save my reset. And there's no great way to get at that on a stringer. Yeah. I just noticed someone on Twitch stream mentioning Niska here in that last game. Really wish we would have had an Igni. Or a Yurden. Something. The Spore is just unable to get through that Phyphion. Here I'm just wanting to save these. Not for any particular reason. Arrakis Nest being really worthless in this game. Really probably should have kept one of those. I was really looking for predatory dives as really great red coin plays, but we are where we are. We'll go Barbagazi here just to consume a few of these Arrakis Nest pieces. We can go ahead and pass as well here. So Arrakis Nest being almost entirely worthless to us. We're going to go ahead and put that back into our deck. These being much better cards. We do want to get out some low value if we are going to run these predatory dives. Alternatively, you can actually use Whispering Hillock with Goliath to pull out something really valuable from your opponent, but though I really do recommend that be with a consume and not with a predatory dive. So instead here, what we're going to do is maintain 3-point units here. I also missed our Andrega Larvae, so really bad luck on that. The armor on Kikimora Queen also serving to protect her from certain removal. Nautilus coming down as a has kind of almost like pure protection against these predatory dives. So we're gonna go natural selection here. And now we'll be playing it onto a 2-point unit and getting some better removal. Also frees up some space for us on our melee row. So we can play, for example, this Armored Arrakis down. Predatory Dive working as really great play against a Reynard. And here we'll probably play the Keekmore Queen, then use the other Predatory Dive as the unit will be back down to 2. But we'll go ahead and see what our opponent puts out. Immortals being a really good option to go ahead and take care of, as they will keep boosting themselves.
Time has come to claim victory.
Just really frustrating our opponent likely at this point. I was hoping to see Donamir out earlier, but we are where we are.
Need us to think twice.
Probably Armored Arrakis would have played well here, but we do get this Thrive, so the Thrive will boost up the Armored Arrakis as well. Armor playing really well during this seasonal. And these shields boosts on Sace being just really such a great value play. Firaxis also being really valuable on that on Sace, giving him for more reach. Visigotta coming down a little bit late in my opinion, but always great play. I think we'll take this one more and then reset the on-Sace. But it wouldn't surprise me to see Viraxis come down to range row. This Glossy Orb never going to find really great value, so we'll go ahead and use it. If I was running a pure seasonal, and we will make some seasonal decks coming up, I just wanted to kind of showcase this, as you had already seen some of this play from organic removal previously.
Tradition be done. I will take Laville to go as my wife.
Karragar Marine being the most valuable card our opponent has. I find that a little bit interesting. But Anse's being boosted up by 8 points, which I am not displeased at. We'll let him get boosted up, damaged, then boosted again before we reset. Hopefully our opponent can hurry it up. This is season mode. Let's go.
Well, how about a game of Gwent?
Just letting our opponent boost up that on-Sace. Keep it coming. It's not going to be enough points for us to win, I don't think, in the end, with still 2 more cards, but you never know. Losing that Goliath was a bit of a blow for us. But here, this is still an 11-point removal. It's a really good value. But Shieldwall working actually really well in this seasonal too, is you can go ahead and shield up an odd-numbered unit. And make sure that they take advantage of that boost. Visigotta also being good just to get that targeted boost. And knowing how this seasonal works, like I said, it acts before anything happens to the unit, so. Yeah, this reset not being nearly good enough. But I think you guys have seen some play of a deck you probably want to actually use in seasonal, which again we'll get into. but also just how you can use this monster deck. We did miss out on Andrega Larvae. They are quite great. Thrives generally being really good in this seasonal mode, as you can proc the Thrive to keep your units on evens, to keep them getting boosted. But thank you guys so much for joining. Hope you enjoyed this one. Let me know if you didn't down in the comments below what you think could be improved. And until next time, good luck, get out there and keep on Gwenting.